Happy Halloween, fellow movie watchers! Welcome back to another edition of the Wisco Movie Watchers podcast, brought to you by PTE Creative. As always, we are your hosts, Evan and Dylan Davies. Dylan, we had a blast from the past from our childhood to celebrate Halloween today. What are we watching in the special anniversary episode today?
We are watching 1985's The Goonies.
Hell yes. 40th anniversary.
A lot of anniversaries lately.
85 was a good year, man. It was a really good year. Because the other thing is, I know we've done other anniversaries. We had Jaws from 75. We did a couple from 95, which is interesting to see nonetheless. And even, I think, did we do a 2005? I'm not sure. But we're doing a lot of anniversary shows. And then all of a sudden it dawned on us, we haven't done Goonies yet. It's the 40th anniversary of Goonies. It's spooky season and we need a Halloween episode. It's Kismet. It's perfect. We must do this. So we are here doing Goonies today. Could we even call this a cult classic, or do we just call this...
I don't think so. I think
it's just a favorites. This is just a favorites episode.
Yeah. At this point, it's just a classic.
Yeah. How'd you enjoy going back and watching this film? When was the last time you watched this, anyways?
I watched it not that long ago, probably like a couple months ago. But before that, it had been quite a while, like at least 5 years or so. Yeah, twice in the last couple months.
You don't rewatch movies as much, but there are those movies that you do rewatch on an annual basis or a semi-annual basis. Goonies is one.
There's certain movies that I watch like 10 times a year.
But that's like Clue to fall asleep.
No, it's like Dirty Dancing is one of them. They're like feel-good movies, I guess.
Sure. Well, we've talked about this in the past, that I do a lot of protection of movies, where there's this weird status in my brain that happens where I go, I have to be in the right mood, and it has to be a time that I really am just going to invest in just the movie. Because I watch so many movies at home now, while also working on this show, or working on another project for a show, or just working on another project in general. You know, so it's something that is, even last night before we recorded this, or before we even knew we were going to record this, I watched Children of the Corn while playing the new Pokemon Legends ZA. Because I'd watched it and fell asleep with like 20 minutes left, like a week and a half ago. I was like, alright, I'm just going to play, kind of pay attention a little bit, and then the last 20 minutes actually kind of pay attention while barely playing. But I need to be in a space to protect some of these favorites, and I don't know why, but it's a respect thing where I want to show it the total love and respect I have for it.
Yeah, I understand that.
And Goonies is certainly one of those.
Yeah, Lately, I haven't watched any of the Harry Potter movies in a couple years at least, which is very strange for me.
Yes.
But that's just because, I'm trying to, cool it off a little bit so that when I watch it again, I'm fully into it again.
Well, I think what's going to be really interesting for Harry Potter in general, you and I have had a discussion that Ab and I have had as well, where it's like, how much love do you want to give Harry Potter? But you love Harry Potter. It's tattooed to your body on your entire arm. So, it's not like you're going to get rid of... And you can separate art and artist a lot better than most people can.
Yeah. Yeah. I always like what Daniel Radcliffe said, which is you can have your own interpretation of what Harry Potter means to you without it having to mean anything dealing with the person who created it.
Right. And that's very fair. And that's very honest. So... let's go to some happy times with Goonies here. Right off the bat, why are these childhood favorites of ours childhood favorites? Maybe it's because they got a phenomenal crew to make them.
Oh yeah, 100%.
I mean,
and then I also just watched F1.
Okay.
And one of the things that I really like, it's a growing trend right now, is soundtracks are back.
Yes, it is.
I love it. And that's what always jumps out about any 80s movies, is anything that was even remotely popular had some kind of theme or soundtrack to it, even if it was just a marketing gimmick, which I bet a lot of them were at the time.
Well, it feels like it's the first time that it became regular business to associate with real musical acts. Where, obviously, beforehand, you have real musical acts doing a singular song for a James Bond movie as their open.
Yeah,
Or you have,
that was like its own thing.
or you had random ones come up, like Butch and Sundance, where you're like, what?
Yeah,
Where it was just a normal song that now became associated with a movie that makes no sense thematically, but we're gonna do it.
yeah. Like there are like obviously, I mean, best original song has been in the Oscars at this point, like 90 years or something like that. But in the 80s is when you get the sweet spot of like almost every movie had a theme or a popular song to go with it. Like what I just mentioned, Dirty Dancing has multiple original songs in it. And then Power of Love from Back to the Future. Like you were getting stuff with Rocky, with like Eye of the Tiger and stuff. Like all those were original songs made for the movie.
Well, even if I'm sticking 85, Breakfast Club, you have Don't Forget
Yeah.
About Me, Simple Minds. St. Elmo's Fire is just a rat. Like, the song's more popular than the movie, right? And it's just,
Probably, yeah.
and you have to be a real Brat Pack fan to like St. Elmo's because it was such a
True.
movie of its time. And only someone who really loves that stuff is going to go back and rewatch it if it wasn't part of their lexicon already. And Goonies is no different, where here you have, they attach themselves to the biggest pop star of the moment. I mean, Cyndi Lauper in 1985 is like the ultimate needle mover, where she literally can do no wrong, and anything she's attached to immediately garners more attention.
Hmm.
I mean, Goonies Are Good Enough is a great song on its own. I just listened to it by itself.
I love that song.
I love that song. But in 85 alone, she's like number one hits all over the place. She's actively elevating Hulkamania and the WWF to where WrestleMania is a thing, and she's a huge part of it. It's the first one, so they're like, we're going to attach ourselves to that woman because she is on top of the world, which is a huge move for them. Goonies is doing the same thing. It's like,
She's also featured in We Are the World,
yeah,
which like I mean the caliber of musicians in that is insane.
well,
But
yeah,
she's still in there.
it's the dream team of musicians if we're going sports
Yeah.
analogy, and you're just and in hindsight, it's kind of like which one of these is not like the other to a degree.
Oh, there's definitely a couple where it's like, huh? Okay.
Yeah, but
But
she could kind of be in that realm to a degree
yeah.
with retrospect, because by the time like 92 happens, you're like, well, it's no longer Cindy's time.
Oh yeah.
But all those other artists, for the most part, they stand the test of time where they're classics, right?
Hmm.
But my God, can't do wrong with Cyndi Lauper in '85, man. And the soundtrack is great. I love this soundtrack.
Yeah, it's great. It's fantastic.
Where do you really want to begin with this film?
That's a great question. I guess is this the ultimate like what's the best way to say it? Like child fantasy movie?
I had
Like
the exact same thought. Yeah.
like any kid, that's what they're imagining when they're playing with their friends. Is like going on an adventure like this.
Oh, yeah. I mean, the absurdity of it is tied so well to the sentimental reality of it, and that's what works, is if you actually apply logic to the situation, it's four, then five, then seven kids going off and going through this booby trap, death trap plan to find pirate treasure on the Oregon coast. Like, none of that
Yeah.
makes any sense, right? But it has such a basis of reality in terms of the people that are in it, in terms of these characters all feel very real. And the sentimentality behind it, which is abundantly clear, especially once you know Steven Spielberg is not only executive producer on this film, but the story is his story.
Yeah.
So, and that's where I would like to start here, going towards your route, is if you're going to make this movie, you need kind of the dream team that they assembled to make this movie. where executive producer Steven Spielberg, Frank Marshall, Kathleen Kennedy, three of the most powerful producers of all time, and obviously the greatest filmmaker of all time in there. Director Richard Donner, most known for Superman, but
I will say,
great.
Richard Donner is kind of a weird choice.
A little bit, but
In 1985.
I think it goes back to Superman, honestly, is the whole idea behind the original Superman truly goes to that tagline, which is, you'll believe a man can fly. And here, I think you needed someone like him to make this real for people. Where they're like,
Yeah.
can we make this Pacific Northwest pirate kids fantasy movie come to life? Who could we get? It's like, well, Richard Donner can do it. You're like, okay.
Well, the funny thing is, the perfect person to direct this movie, had he been more experienced at that point, would have been Christopher Columbus.
Well, I think this is probably where he gets a lot of that experience, right?
Probably. But, like, when I think of, like, who would be the perfect choice, I would say him. Just because, like, the way he is able to work with child actors is pretty amazing,
I mean,
almost on Spielberg level.
It is evident from all of his most famous work that he knows what he's doing with child actors.
Yeah. Like, just look at the first two Harry Potter movies.
Yeah.
Those movies work because of him.
I mean,
really.
look at Home Alone. Look at a lot of that kind of stuff.
Exactly.
It's where he's phenomenal at it. But you have Christopher Columbus writing this movie based off a story of Steven Spielberg, of Richard Donner directing. Again, brought up from the Casper situation. One of the best film editors of all time, Michael Kahn, is editing this film.
Yeah.
This whole crew that is assembled is literally, again, the Casper thing where it's like, we are just going to hand you this team, make it work.
Yeah.
This is what sports teams, when they talk about, we just need a quarterback, we're going to hand you the perfect team, just get us to the playoffs and we'll take care of it. This is literally the movie equivalent, but it works in movies because you can do that. And this cast is unintentionally stacked, where not very often are you going to get this quality of child acting grouped together that later will go on to be like, oh wow, y'all can act.
Yeah, it's stacked in hindsight.
Yes, but it's not meant to. You do have at least two Nepo babies as a part of the core 7 group. With obviously Josh Brolin, most famous with James Brolin, his father. Martha Plimpton is actually Keith Carradine's daughter, which I did not know until this morning when I was doing a couple little research pieces.
Did she take her mom's name?
Yeah, her mom's name is Shelley Plimpton, so she took her mom's.
Okay.
I don't know what the parental familial situation was, but I was like, oh, Keith Carradine's daughter. That makes sense.
Yeah.
But to have Sean Astin, Ke Huy Quan, and Josh Brolin all a part of this really core, and then you have at the time the biggest star, or going to be one of the biggest stars of the time, Corey Feldman.
He's on his way.
Yeah,
for sure.
This is part of the upward trajectory from Stand By Me.
Yeah, because it goes Friday the 13th, part 4. And Gremlins are 84, and then 85 is Goonies, 87 is Lost Boys.
Yep.
And then it's like the two Coreys are like the two biggest people in the world,
right,
in terms of child actors.
Right. But on top of that, you also have
Who wins? The two Coreys versus Stallone and Schwarzenegger.
I think I'm gonna go with Arnold, and
I'm gonna take the Coreys in a fist fight.
So here's the only things. Depending on what time, what place in the timeline you have, Arnold and Sylvester might just beat each other up for the two Coreys because they're constantly out-dueling each other, trying to out-duel each other. Hence the reason Stallone is put into this like terrible movie, literally because Schwarzenegger feigned interest in the movie, and just to one-up Arnold, Sylvester like pushed to get in the movie. He got in the movie, and it was terrible. And Arnold knew it, and he's like, "I'm just going to show interest to prove that you're doing this." And they're just constantly in a pissing contest. And now they're like great friends, which is hilarious. But
well, no, the funniest part about that is you always think of Stallone as the smarter of the two, but then when you look at that, it's like, Sylvester, that's pretty dumb. Like, you fell for a trap to being over the top. Like, that's a blunder. The movie's fucking garbage. And it's garbage without even having to. I've seen it, obviously. But, like, even just hearing the concept of it is so fucking stupid.
I think that's it. We should table. I have a lot of thoughts on that. We should do an episode of Arnie versus Stallone and actually go through, because one thing I think Arnold learned really quickly that Sylvester Stallone never really learns is Arnie knew who he was and knew what he was going to be successful in. And when that stopped working so much was when the movie industry itself kind of stopped working. Where Sylvester Stallone still tries to do that, and occasionally it works as a nostalgia factor, but most of the time it's just like, bro, this ain't 1984 anymore. Like, you can't.
Yeah, we'll be talking about Stallone a little bit when
we will be doing Rocky in November. We finally got to do Rocky for a big box office series, but we need to table this and go to an episode like that. I'd love to actually do a pound per pound battle of hits and misses during the heyday of their careers and go from there.
I do have a question for you that you'll probably know. John Matuszak, is it? Sloth?
Yeah.
Was he a good football player?
Matuszak,
was he well known?
Matuszak is that's a difficult question, especially for someone like me, who, although I do know, I am more of a football historian than 99% of the people that are football fans. I will say that. Mm-hmm. And it's accurate, but that doesn't mean I'm the greatest football historian of all time. Matuszak was a good player, but he wasn't like all pro, oh my god, Matuszak just dominates the field. And on top of that, Matuszak was one of those guys that had a personality, and that's kind of where he transitions into film really, really well, because he just has a personality. He's one of those guys that, it's the classic, if anybody in sports, specifically football, shows personality, everyone's like, oh, they should go into pro wrestling. Matuszak was born for that. He would have been perfect for that world, because he's just a weird guy. And
he played for the Raiders?
Yes, he played for the Raiders.
Okay.
He was perfect for the Raiders at that time, because it was the Island of Misfit Toys that was really good. The Raiders were just awesome because they just let people be who they were, regardless of how weird or crazy or fucked up they were.
You think they picked him to be a pirate-inspired character just because he was on the Raiders?
I don't know. Maybe.
Never thought about that until right now.
And you never know. But I don't know the true knowledge of Matuszak in terms of his status with people knowing who he was. Because honestly, football doesn't truly... It's weird. Football is kind of on its ass. 82, 83, 84. And then by the end of the decade, but especially transitioning from 85 onward, football becomes not only... Like, football had already taken over as the bigger sport, but baseball was in a huge resurgence at this time. Football went into 2 strikes during the 80s and really hampered 2 seasons. But in like a couple years' time, football goes from on its ass. Most people know a couple names, but they're not like... It's not like today where all sports coverage in the United States is football and then everything else. And then by the end of the decade, it becomes, oh my god, football clearly is the juggernaut that can't be stopped in comparison to other sports. So it is strange, because today, if a Matuszak was in today's style, he would be a Gronk level kind of character where everybody kind of has at least heard of Gronk, knows something about him, knows the over-the-top personality. Those guys get a lot more shine now from the media coverage of the NFL.
Maybe that's who will play Sloth in the sequel.
Gronk?
Yeah.
God, I really... Should we table sequel talk to the end of this show?
I can wrap up my thoughts on it with one sentence. Not interested.
I'll go into a little bit more detail, but yes, I share that sentiment deeply.
Leave it alone.
Just leave it alone. I agree. I want to talk about the opening here. What a great open. Because it shows these little character moments throughout. My favorite being the cops are shooting at the four-wheel drive vehicle, and Mama Fratelli is literally eating saltines as she's being shot at, and I'm like, that. Say what you will about that woman because she's terrible, but that's badass. Like, that's awesome.
I like the Fratellis are such a weird combination of like they were actually kind of genuinely terrifying when you're a kid,
Yeah.
but they're also super fun to watch.
Yes.
And they're like they have this weird charisma about them.
Well, it helps that you have Anne Ramsey just plays such a wench. She's just terrible throughout. And then you have Robert Davi, who clearly wants to be liked, but he also feels the need to be the badass of the group, but he's not. And then
that's Robert in real life.
And then you have Joey Pants, who just is so understatedly awesome in every scene he's in, to the point where I think I wouldn't be shocked if this sequel does actually come through and they really try to do the full nostalgia act. I wouldn't be shocked if Joey Pants is the big rallying cry of a villain.
Is Robert Davi still alive?
I'm not sure. I think so. I thought he was.
Let's see. I know he's a hardcore conservative.
That's unfortunate.
So that might hamper his chances of being in the sequel.
Well, that's unfortunate, yeah.
Yeah, he is alive, 74 years old.
Because could it be fun to watch those two?
I
just
don't want them to be in it, let's be honest. Like, Joey Pants I'd be okay with, just because he's kind of transcended a lot of his roles to where he's actually just a good character actor.
Yeah.
Robert Davi, I don't think I've seen him in anything since 80s.
Better question. What is the last thing Robert Davi was in of any merit? Can you look that up for me right now?
Yeah, I'll look it up.
Because I'm trying to think here. The last thing I can think of any merit that Robert Davi is in, and I know I feel like I have to be wrong, is License to Kill from '89.
I was going to say, that's the thing that I'm, like, latest thing that I'm, like, a big movie that he was in.
Right. It's only because it's a Bond movie that we consider it big, but it's not that big of a movie. And it's what kind of kills Bond for 5 to 6 years.
Yeah. I will say, he's pretty good in that movie, though.
It's because he's just being... It's just the volumes turned up on himself. That's all it is, you know?
Yeah. He is in a lot of stuff. He's just not in anything good. So, like he worked last year.
Okay.
Like, the thing that of most note that I've can find recently is The Expendables 3. He was in that in 2014.
Hell yeah.
He was in the Iceman movie with Michael Shannon.
What the fuck is that?
It's like a crime, like true crime story,
okay.
I think.
Well, Michael Shannon.
I can't remember.
I mean, that's Ab's gym buddy, you know, Michael Shannon.
Yeah.
So might have to give it a shot.
I saw it when it first came out, but that was over a decade at this point. I'm already into the 90s right now, and there's still not much. Oh, he was in Showgirls.
Okay.
I do remember that. Yeah.
Talk about a movie that's gotten a weird, I don't want to say glow up, but it's gotten a lot of pub in the last 2-3 years because it's kind of become TikTok and the internet's one of their fun, devoted movies.
It's a weird, like, he was also in Predator 2, which was 90.
Okay.
So, okay. But yeah, like, we're already at License to Kill already. Showgirls is this weird combination of, like, respected / reviled.
Yeah.
So, it's weird.
Kills Elizabeth Berkley's career, man.
She's fucking awful in it. That's why.
I mean, to be fair, when people say that, sometimes I'm like, you're talking as if she was an Academy Award winner, and then she did this, and it's like, she's what, the 4th most talented of 5 from Saved by the Bell? You know, like, it's clearly...
Who's the least talented, are you saying?
I would say probably Screech.
Dustin Diamond is the least talented?
Of the 5, yeah. It's clearly Tiffany Amber Thiessen's clearly won because she at least has been working in decent stuff her entire lifetime since.
Yeah.
And even if it's not great stuff, it's notable and it has a vibe that some people will like. You know. Then I would go Mark Paul Gosselaar, I think is his name. Yep.
I think so.
And then, and that's Zach. Then I go Mario Lopez. Then I'm going to put Elizabeth Berkley in there. And then I'll go Dustin Diamond.
Yeah.
Because Lopez learned really quickly, I'm going to pivot, and I'm just going to use my natural charisma that I have, and I'm going to be a show host, and I'm going to do this stuff. And he still has an extremely viable career to this day. He's not really acting, but he's always part of entertainment. You got to give him that credit.
Sure.
So to me, it's like who really is?
None of them are talented.
How dare you?
Well, they're talented.
How dare you?
Not A-list stars.
Speak of that blasphemy towards Tiffany Amber Thiessen. How dare you? Alrighty, but let's go back to this ensemble of characters that we have today.
Who do you think nails their part the most out of the kids?
Ooh, great question.
Because they're all very strong actors for how young they are.
I came back to this kind of similar reaction to when we just did Clue a couple weeks ago. Or last week, I guess, as of this. Where maybe it's simply because I wasn't really drawn to her character as a kid. I think Martha Plimpton actually is super consistent in her character with Steph the entire time.
She's great. I think literally all of them are great.
I was going to say, I think Carrie Green does a great job with Andy as well, because they're the two that you think you could forget the most. But they have these weird little glue moments where, as an adult, you can kind of go, wait, no, that's actually really well done.
Yeah. I think I would say Corey Feldman is. But I think that's not necessarily... He is great in it. Obviously, they all are. But I think that's the role that any kid would want. Like, because all he's doing is getting away with swearing and being a fucking awful person.
Well, so I was doing this. It's kind of like... We haven't covered Grease, but we've talked a lot about Grease. Or did we cover Grease? I can't remember. But...
not yet.
No, but we've talked enough Grease because of the Top 100 series and everything else, which, by the way, go watch those episodes are up. Just came out a couple days ago, and we have our 1 through 5 show, or 5 through 1 show, to finish that series coming up in a couple weeks. But it's kind of like when we talked about Grease. You're actually never Danny Zuko, but you want to believe you are. I looked and I was like, okay, what percentage am I of all these kids? And I really don't think I have much of any chunk in me.
Yeah, that's fair.
But I definitely have, if I'm looking back to my own childhood, I definitely thought I was more mouth, and I'm not nearly as much mouth as I actually think I was. I'm definitely more Mikey. I've got some data because I loved fucking around and making little stuff and playing around with shit. I had a little bit of mouth, but I actually wasn't nearly as much mouth as I thought I was. I think I'm probably Mikey, then Data, then Mouth.
Like I said, Mouth is the role that every kid wants to be.
Yeah.
Because he's constantly just getting away with it.
Yes.
Like, no supervision is going to help with Mouth being an awful person.
The one thing I will say about Mouth and that role...
Even when he's around adult figures, he's still an awful person.
I don't know if he's an awful person. He's a shitty kid. I think there's a distinction and a difference. Because he does show concern for his friends. He does actually show concern for people. Yeah. He has emotion. It'd be different if he was just devoid of all of the good characteristics and he's only a shithead. Right.
Well, I'm thinking of like when he's telling Rosalita all the
exactly. To me, that's a shitty middle school kid. That's not a terrible person. Just speaking from experience working with children, I know a lot of kids that teeter the line. I knew a lot of kids that are on the good side, like I think Mouth is, and then there's a lot of kids I think are on the other side where you're just like, you suck. Like, you're
Yeah.
you have no redeeming qualities right now. You got to fix this.
Yeah.
The one thing I'll say about the mouth role is that's a role that needs charisma. If you don't have it,
Oh, 100%.
it's not going to work. So that's why I don't want to discount what Corey Feldman's doing, because I think on paper the easiest role to play is mouth. You get to be the smartass.
Probably.
You get all the great one-liners that are gonna. You get to be the sizzle. The hardest role to play is actually Mikey, because you have to do
Yeah.
all the emotional heavy lifting,
Yeah, he's the heart of the movie.
and of course you have the heart of all hearts in Sean Astin playing this role, which helps a lot.
And I don't mean just like he's the main character. I mean he gives a real sincerity to the movie
Yes, he does.
throughout the whole thing.
It is.
Even when he's just being sentimental about a fucking pirate ship.
You do know he's just playing Samwise Gamgee as Frodo in this fucking movie.
Yeah.
That's all it
Pretty
is.
much.
And then he gets to go on and be the most heartfelt fucking friend ever in all of media history against by getting to play Samwise Gamgee. But it is funny now knowing that, where you're like, he was tailor made to do this, man. Just because he brings such a warmth and sincerity and sentimentality to what he's doing. And I love those shots. It was crazy because we've talked so much Spielberg, and the biggest criticism of him is the sentimentality. It is insane how many shots and how warm this movie is with so much sentiment. Once you know that's the big thing with Spielberg, it is so easy to be like, yep, that's a Spielberg shot, that's a Spielberg shot, that's a Spielberg influence, even if he's not there actually doing it. I don't think he's micromanaging Richard Donner and Christopher Columbus, but you can tell those are things that are baked in because of his story.
Yeah.
Like the longing in Mikey's eyes when Troy's dad shows up and leaves to drop off the paperwork. And he has that first initial guttural, line to him. But then he just kind of goes off into space and realizes he's losing everything that his childhood was. It's so wonderful to see.
One of the things that kind of go along with Spielberg is like every one of his shots is like beautiful in a kind of way. Like they all look gorgeous. And with Richard Donner, he kind of has like a utilitarian look to it, where it's just like it's getting the point across in a very direct way.
Sure.
Where like nothing ever looks like a beautiful shot, like beautifully composed or anything. It's just telling the story in a very clear and direct way.
Sure.
He's still a great director. Like that's not a thing against him at all.
They just have a different style. But oddly, I think that's what brings it out of it, is where this pairing's really good, is you have material from someone who has that sentimentality to them, and it's being pulled out of all these utilitarian shots, if you want to use that word, but then you have Donner's straightforward mentality really framing this movie, and it allows it to be so clearly understood. Which, not to say Spielberg is ever misunderstood, but there's this thing where it makes it so easy where even a kid can go and connect with it so clearly, where they go, oh, he is sad. And that is sad. Where it's not so much the reflective beauty in some of the shots that I look at something like Empire of the Sun from that era of Spielberg, where there's obviously clearly shots that are like that in that film, but then there's other shots of Christian Bale where there's a lot more subtext. There's a lot more there. Where Goonies doesn't necessarily have that. It's far more just
another great actor, kid actor in the 80s.
Dude,
What's
the
going
80s.
on?
I think the 80s, in a weird way, to set up the future is why the Disney movies and the Disney, the DCOM movies and things of that nature, why everyone thought and jumped onto the bandwagon, a lot of those kids that became consistent players, and why to this day we still kind of root for some of these child actors that do a good job in one project, maybe two, to jump forward. Because in the 80s you were spoiled with all these kids and all these actors that went on to not only do good work, but phenomenal work and become icons of the time,
Yeah.
or even if they don't become icons, have these roles that allow them to be so special and be a part of cinema history. Where, I mean, no different. You have Josh Brolin, who's done a ton of great work, but gets to be in something like No Country for Old Men, and then also gets to play the icon like Thanos. Really great stuff. Sean Astin clearly getting to
Well,
play in Lord of the Rings. Ke Huy Quan doing Everything Everywhere All at Once, getting to be in an Oscar-nominated
yeah.
performance and an Oscar
Well,
win.
winning. Yeah.
And it's all these things keep happening, you know?
Josh Brolin is one of those careers when you no one ever mentions them in the best actors of all time, but when his career is said and done, you could look back on it and go like, that might be a top 20 career of all actors. Like the amount of stuff he's in, and he's great in everything, is like pretty crazy amount of stuff he's in that's really, really great.
Yeah. That'd be
He's
another
been
great
doing
show.
it for fucking 40 years already.
Well, he has that huge hiatus where he kind of just disappears for a long
Yeah.
time, and then out of nowhere, I wasn't familiar enough with his work beforehand, but really, No Country for Old Men comes out, and everyone's like, Goonies kid, what?
But like, yeah, he's in No Country where he is the lead, but then he's also in like Sicario
Yeah,
where he's like a bit player in it, but he's still fantastic.
right. No,
I have a lot of respect for him.
no, I do too, and also he just seems like a down to earth guy who gets it.
Yeah, he does seem really cool.
So, I mean, from everything he presents, I give him a lot of credit for that.
Especially considering he's a Nepo baby. Like,
Right.
he could have easily turned out the wrong way.
Well, he was on that path, and he got his shit together,
Sure.
and that's important. Again, it just shows to the quality of this cast. This is really a 10-person movie. Obviously, there's more characters than that, but this is a 10-person movie. Well, 11, I guess. So,
This is not a studio's wet dream.
no.
It's a small cast, but almost every single set has to be built.
Has to be built, and it's unique built. One thing I wanted to say about some of these pieces and some of these sets as well, real attention to detail is put into them. I remember even noticing this as a kid or young adult. When they first find that map, the music notes are on there if you're looking for them. They don't zoom in enough for you to go, why are there music notes on there, and give it away? But you can tell they're there if you know what's going to happen. Or the booby trap scene where the boulders are hooked up and they're going to fall once they find Chester Copperpot. If you're looking at it, the shot is derived where you're supposed to be looking at Data walking away with Andy and Steph. But if you look up, you can see those boulders are hanging there and it's set up. And you're looking for that detail. They pay attention to those details really well.
Yeah.
Where you don't just go, well, how'd that happen if it wasn't there before? But the attic scene, or the attic set, is great. I love that just random... I just love... It's all the rejects, and it perfectly explains in one sentence why all this random-ass shit is in this person's attic. Is it the most believable thing in the world? Who cares? But nonetheless...
I'm okay with it.
I'm okay with it. I don't really care.
It's a good enough excuse.
But you have all these different little examples of why things are working. The only one I would say if you're forcing me to nitpick is why is all this random plumbing in this area?
That's just one of those kids movies things where it's just like they know the gag's gonna hit hard,
Yeah.
and that's why they're doing it.
Well, the only thing I will give it is there's a lot of times that people don't realize how many random corridors of the world are. It's kind of like when you watch Us, and they put in the first thing where they're like, there's this many miles of tunnels and underground things in the United States. And you just go, well, that's scary as fuck. It's great to kind of play with that here in Goonies, where there's tons of utility tunnels and things we don't know about, and who knows what's attached to it. It's why I love watching. I don't know if you've ever gone down this rabbit hole, but I follow a ton of accounts of abandoned exploring or urban explorers.
I don't watch them, but I know it's very popular.
And the amount of stuff, even like I was first drawn to it while we lived in Chicago, and then finding these people that were going to downtown Chicago and buildings that I knew or I'd at least passed through or kind of walked through once or twice. And then all of a sudden they take this tunnel where I was like, wait, that was there the whole time? And it goes to all these different access places where you're like, well, clearly they're not supposed to be there. But when they do it, you're like, well, that's a secret I never knew about. That's cool as fuck. And also scary, but cool.
It's the same thing we talked about with Clue, where it's like the secret hidden passages. Like, that's just things that kids are obsessed with.
Yes.
That's why this movie is like complete wish fulfillment for kids. Because, for one, booby traps are like some of the coolest things in the world.
Oh, absolutely.
I would still say that nowadays.
Oh, yeah, that's super cool.
And then you're following a treasure map, which is like another just classic thing that kids want to do.
Right.
And then you're looking for literal treasure.
Yeah. Pirate treasure, nonetheless.
Yes.
You know?
Yes.
And it has all these different elements and play to it that I think is really fun and unique. It's those details that I really appreciate here.
What's just to ask another question, what's your favorite data like
Gadget?
invention?
Oh,
Gadget.
God. It might be Pinchers of Pow, but Slick Shoes is up there.
I like Slick Shoes the most. I love that one.
Because it's so like, what?
Well, it's just so, like, it has no use anytime except that one specific scenario. It's like when James Bond gets in, like, a very specific predicament, and he has the one gadget that will be useful in that moment.
Well, it's certainly like, yeah, I look at it kind of GoldenEye-esque, which that's another anniversary episode we should do this year before the end of the year, because I'll use any excuse to watch GoldenEye. But it's kind of the exploding pen from GoldenEye, or exploding pen, and you're like, how in the fuck is he going to use this? Yes. And obviously, it could be as simple as he has, well, I can make an explosion. But, no. He finds the meticulous, pen-spinning clicker.
Yeah. He finds the one autistic guy who clicks a pen as it stim constantly.
And then, of course, it works, so it is very funny, and also again, shows how James Bond is kind of on its ass, that they license the music.
Yeah.
Also,
yeah, that's very true, actually.
A lot of...
What is 85 is A View to Kill?
Yeah.
Okay.
One of my guilty pleasures. I absolutely love that movie. It's terrible, but I love it.
Is it 83? Is that the one where there's two Bond movies that are competing against each other?
Yeah, it's Never Say Never. Okay. Never Say Never Again and Octopus.
Okay, yes. So they're hurting at that point.
Yeah, it's bad. But it also shows... I've seen this a lot in these movies from early 90s, but especially 80s, when they start being really smart about licensing towards being real, where a lot of friendly stuff happening where licensing isn't the thing as much.
Well, that's one of the things that I find most annoying nowadays is, like, people complain about product placement, but it only comes across as, like, really ridiculous and really, like, in your face because they're forcing it to be. Like, because people are paying for it to be in a movie.
Like Madam Web, like, where Pepsi Cola is the hero of the movie.
Exactly. But, like, if there was a can of Coke in the Goonies, you wouldn't bat an eye because it wouldn't be, like, prominently placed or, like, have a whole beat of a scene.
Well, they have the Pepsi can. They have Pepsi Cola in multiple shots. I definitely think there's a Pepsi sponsorship here. But again, little dots, little here, like Mouth drinks one in the Walsh house. They have some Pepsi Cola stuff, I think, in the background of that first opening shot. Or maybe even the cup is Pepsi Cola, where the smoothie comes and hits him in the face when the chart's going down.
That's the one I was imagining, yeah.
They have the Pepsi Cola soda cooler outside of the restaurant when they're going in. So there are shots where you're like, okay. But, again, it's logical that a 12-year-old kid that is as crazy as Data, when he's doing a zip line of all things, where you're like, this can't be safe.
Another great moment.
Which, the thing is this, if anyone says that's not real, I can tell you for a fact, multiple kids not only have tried but have succeeded in making a zip line. As kids who have tried to make a zip line failed, but we tried multiple times to make it work.
Hey, again, another wish fulfillment thing.
That is legit. Like, that is real. So, him playing 007, it's so smart. Like, to the day, I remember we had a rock wall at my old job. So, and one of the kids mentioned he loved Indiana Jones. I was like, no problem. So he started climbing the rock wall, and just to get him to get a little bit more into it, played the Raiders March, and immediately he was like, is this Indiana Jones? I was like, yep. And he got to play out that fantasy. Where I was just like, that's real. It's the same. I mentioned it even on our Halloween episode a couple weeks ago, where the most real thing about Halloween 6 Curse of Michael Myers is that Red Power Ranger is in that kid's bedroom. That is the most authentic, real thing in that movie, that a kid in 1994 would have a Power Ranger toy.
Well, you're forgetting that Michael Myers is stopped by runes. That's the most realistic.
You're right. And they can't even pronounce the actual holidays that they're saying in the movie.
I think that's... I forgot to mention also, I'm pretty sure they've pronounced it that way since part 2. If I remember correctly.
But nonetheless, so, like, those things I think are real. I love seeing in the 80s, I think E.T. has it, a couple other movies have it, I think Poltergeist has it as well, if I recall correctly. The Star Wars stuff, like, that's very logical. That's what would happen with a kid.
Companies weren't such, like, up their own butts about, like, lending out their IP.
Right, and that's the thing, is they should go back to those things because it made it more prevalent.
Yeah. Well, I remember, like, I don't know if this is actually the case, but I remember hearing, like, George Lucas, as long as you didn't profit off of it yourself, he had no problem with you, like, making fan films about Star Wars and stuff like that.
Oh, he still does it. I mean, the thing is, it's why it's so prevalent.
Like, now that it's owned by Disney, you can't do shit with it.
You can still make fan films, but George was so crazy that, in a good way, where as long as you didn't profit, he made the entire sound library available to people.
Yeah.
Like,
true.
that's one thing where that doesn't happen. And he just went,
yeah, that's true.
Let them play. Let them do whatever they want.
Mad respect for that.
And that's one of those things where I remember learning that and first being like, oh God, George Lucas is crazy. And now I'm like, no, there's so much respect there that someone that has the ultimate label of corporate greed, and that's very valid in a lot of cases, but for him to be able to be like, you can have the entire sound library. I will never come against you. Just don't make money off of it. But you can make whatever you want. That's amazing. That's wonderful to do that.
Yeah, and then 2 years later, you get Disney and Warner Brothers mixing up together for Roger Rabbit. Like, as much as the 80s is like the pinnacle of American capitalism,
yep,
there was some kind of like weird symbiotic relationship there.
One thing I really appreciate about this era, it's crazy that we keep going into Goonies and we keep getting into other side topics, but it's what I love about the 80s filmmaking. It just feels like anything is possible, and it feels like 2003 to 2012 internet, where people finally realized anything they ever wanted to do is right in the palm of their hand. Mm-hmm. And they didn't fuck it up yet. Where the 80s, they finally have the best capability of making practical effects that they're going to get when it's still the height of the medium. But at the same time, now they have all these computer effects that can help them with these practical effects tools to make whatever movie they've ever wanted to make and imagine. Yeah. And make it look not only good, but legit real. And even if it doesn't look real, it looks fantasy enough that you go, yeah, I buy it. I believe it. I love it.
Well,
it's the same thing with the synergy of everything, where they're like, it's a kid in the 80s. Why wouldn't he have Star Wars bed sheets? You're like, yeah, it's fucking logical. Why wouldn't he?
Yeah, to take it back to the Goonies, and bringing it back to like the peak of what is practical. like the makeup on Sloth, that's like peak 80s body horror makeup.
Oh yeah.
Wait, you're getting that with like a lot of horror movies, but you generally don't get that with like movies like this
No.
where they're like crowd pleasers.
Well, I
But
think
Sloth is like, well, for one, the part where Mikey goes down into the basement and sees him for the first time, like that's forever burned into my mind. Of like,
it's terrifying.
it was scary back in the day.
Oh yeah. Well, again, we talked about this in the Back to the Future episode. I think Goonies is a more clear genre, but it is a genre bender where you could classify this film in many different genres and it would be totally acceptable. I would say I would say that first and foremost this is an adventure film.
That's what I would consider it. Yeah.
But if someone said this is a comedy movie, I would have been like, "Yep, I buy it."
Yeah.
This is an action movie, I'd be like, "I buy it." This is a family movie, I buy it. Even if you want to say this is a children's horror film, like spooky season kind of stuff, I'd be like, "Yeah, there's enough here."
Yeah. Again, it's one of the great things of the 80s where it's like they're not afraid to get at least a little dark.
Yeah.
Like the 90s still had some of that,
Well,
but it was definitely getting to the more sanitized.
Well, it changes because the early '90s had it, and then the late '90s is where we start getting the corporate. Let's not scare these kiddos.
Yeah.
Let's not do
And
that.
then you get like I can't think of a single movie that's made for kids in like the past 15 years that I can think of has like a somewhat scary moment. Now I don't watch all that many like live action kids movies anymore.
Well, they're not made that much. They're made for.
That's true.
I take that back. They're made a lot more, but they're not made on the scale of what we were grown up with.
Yeah, and they're exclusively streaming. Usually.
They're streaming exclusives that they're made to fill a quota of. Oh, we need a kids Halloween movie this year. Let's make a kids Halloween movie.
I was trying to think of this earlier, and I think the only one I can think of is like Coraline. That's over 15 years old.
That's 20 years old now. Is that 2005 or is that 2007?
I thought it was like 2008-ish, around there.
Yeah, it's almost 20 years old.
But like that's like somewhat scary. Oh, 2009. So.
Okay.
But it's still well over a decade old.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, you know kids a lot more than I do. Like, is that even something that they're interested in?
Yes.
Is like something that might actually scare them.
I always remember this. I remember one great place, and I understand I'm biased, but one thing that helped me learn filmmaking a lot more in terms of the actual process of getting a movie made, casting a movie, thought process going into a movie, is there is a phenomenal documentary that I think I've talked about here, where it was the making of the original Batman from '89. And they don't just say, okay, the movie was greenlit and then we did this, this, and that. They go through the whole process of getting that movie made, which took 10 to 15 years. But really at least 10 years before Michael Uslan and Benjamin Melnicker actually got that movie rolling, got the producers and everything, and got it made. Jack Nicholson, when talking about his role as the Joker, said he's just like, I remember working for an audience of children. The more you scare them, the more they like it. The worse you are, the better you are. And I've never forgotten that because it made me reflect on the things I liked as a kid. And the things I love.
Yes.
And the things I loved that I go back to. Were there things I liked as a kid that I never go back to now, and I've forgotten, or it comes up randomly once every couple of years, and I'm like, oh yeah, I love that. Like, I loved the Land Before Time movies as a kid. I rented them all the time. I have never rewatched them. I think I tried to rewatch one in the last 10 years because it was a random time on streaming. I was like, hey, Land Before Time. And I watched 5 minutes. I was like, I can't do this. But beyond that, there's tons of things from my childhood I've never revisited or have zero interest in doing because they don't hold that. But Hocus Pocus, I liked how dark some of those elements were. Shot at night, we're trying to eat children. Billy the Butcher is just rad looking and weird, and I love that about it. Casper, the ghosts get scary. We're not afraid to go dark. Nightmare Before Christmas, the whole thing looks like it's shot like an inkwell. Batman Returns, the whole thing looks like it's shot in an inkwell. And there's weird, crazy shit happening in that movie where the Penguin is legitimately scary to a child. I look back at all of those things that were foundational to me. I even look at the old Goosebumps show. Where, yes, the whole point of Goosebumps is to try to scare you a little bit. But as a kid, the idea of the haunted mask was freaky. Those things were freaky as a kid. And that was the stuff we always went back to. I remember when you'd go to the public library and you'd go get those Goosebumps tapes, I was like, what'd you guys do? You're like, yo, we got Goosebumps for Halloween. I was like, fuck yeah, sign me up, let's watch this shit. And even at the time, those episodes were 7-10 years old and we were teenagers and we were still like, nope, let's roll. But because we go back to that shit because there was an element of horror to it that we really liked. Where there was something there to glom onto. That's why I kind of... We talked about the Goosebumps movie with Jack Black from 2015. And I kind of like it. There are a few times that they try to get... It's very sanitized. I don't want to give them credit that they don't deserve. But there's a few times they're like, well, it's a little bit darker than I thought it'd be. Okay. And it just hits spot for me, and it's nostalgia.
Yeah.
But they don't do that anymore. And when you want to go dark, they do other stuff. Like I look at right now the most popular movie and definitely going to be the number one costume this year is K-pop Demon Hunters. And in that movie, the demons look weird, but they're not scary. The idea of this demon lord is a scary concept, but it's just a mass blob of purple-pink cloud. There's nothing scary about it.
Like when I just searched spooky kids movies.
Yeah.
Literally all of them are from the 2000s or earlier. The only one that's even remotely close to modern is Hotel Transylvania. And that's not scary.
That's not scary at all. I mean, I look at Corpse Bride, Coraline, Monster House. They all had something about them that were there. Going back, and then I look back at the movies that were made for kids in the 80s, like the Never-Ending Story. That's traumatizing to a lot of people.
Yeah,
that's
very dark.
The Dark Crystal is not necessarily the lightest, brightest thing in the world.
Even like straight up fantasy adventure movies like Willow.
Yeah,
have like really weird. Dark moments where they're turning into pigs and shit.
Well, Gremlins gets dark. It's just
Gremlins has a moment where one of them is strangling the mom with a cord of Christmas lights.
Right, it's important to show danger. It's why I know I'm biased and it's right over my shoulder again. Lord Zed is freaky and scary in Power Rangers. Over time, you just get used to it whenever. But the first time you see Lord Zed, you're like, that's fucked up. And that is freaky. And to this day, I'm still afraid of Ivan Ooze from the Mighty Morphin Power Ranger movie. Yes, was I traumatized as a 4-year-old watching it? Of course I was. But I just let my imagination run wild. But there's still something scary and frightening in those things. That's important. Hell, even the Page Master. There's little elements where you're like, that's kind of freaky. That's kind of scary with the whole, thunderstorm and everything happening. Those are important details to show kids. Those are important details to make someone believe. Which is why kids' programming today sucks. Because it's so, let's not get too dark for them. It's like, what's going to happen? What's going to happen? Nothing.
Well, I'll tell you what's going to happen. 100 moms on the internet are going to complain,
Oh
and then,
no.
and then the media outlets will report it as if it's this huge movement.
And it's not.
That's what always happens. People like it latch onto like a very small community of people doing something, and they say, "Oh, they're reporting as if it's this big thing,"
It's
when
not.
really, in reality, it's not at all.
And that's the thing is no one's getting up in arms about most of the movies we mentioned.
It
They
takes
weren't
like a
even in the
thousand.
day.
Yeah, it takes like 1,000 people now for something to be a controversy.
Well, it takes 10 sometimes, where you just 10 loud
Yeah,
enough people. And then all of a sudden, oh, we should apologize. It's like, no, we're not apologizing for that. That's stupid. No, not doing it. But you need things like this. And it's really balanced here. I think this is why this is a key and why it stands the test of time, where families that know this movie will be passed on forever.
Mhm.
Because this is the movie parents are excited to show their kids. This is one where this is one of those movies where even the kids in my life that are, in my personal life, not my professional life, like our niece, like Ab and I have people that we consider like our niece and nephew. This was an important movie that I'm super excited to show them when they're ready. Where I'm like in the next year when it's sleepover time with Aunt Abby and Uncle Evan, it's going to be we're going to watch Goonies.
I am curious. I would be curious to see how do small girls view this movie versus small boys.
Yes, I do have that
Because
thought process.
because unfortunately, both the girls in the movie are like a lot more stereotypical
Yes.
of young women, where it's like they're scared a lot of the time. They're like grossed out by a lot of the stuff.
It's far more prissy and things like that. That's why I
Yeah,
think I really like Martha Plimpton in this, where Steph still has an edge to her, where she's
mhm,
just sarcastic all the
yeah.
time, and I love it.
She's less of like a girly girl. Yeah,
Yeah, and I really
that's it. That is
appreciate that.
something I think would be fun to look at, because like obviously women love the Goonies as well, but I don't imagine it's like as fundamental
No,
for them to view it as
it's not a
like
fifty-fifty
young.
split. This is far more of a boys' movie. We have to admit
Yeah,
that. That's the truth. Having said that, I look at this similar to early Nickelodeon, where Nickelodeon did the opposite with shows like uh, Clarissa Explains It All, things of that nature, where you actually learned through demographic studies and things of this nature. If you just present something, just present it. Don't go, we're going to tailor it for this, or we're going to tailor it for
yeah,
that. Let's just make a show, or let's just make a movie. If it's fun and cool, people will watch it. Some of the people that I've been most pleasantly engaged in conversation with about really nerdy topics, even the MCU, are women. The person I've talked the most Star Wars with, and a real nerdy level, is female.
yeah,
Because it's just presented as, this is fun and cool. Now, is it far more stereotypically a male thing? Yeah, it is. But if you just present
yeah,
something as cool, kids will just buy into it. They don't care.
yeah. I don't think most kids care
Same
that
deal as
much.
I brought up K-pop Demon Hunters just a couple minutes ago. The amount of boys. That is a... If you're asking me to go back and be Kid Evan, that is a movie I'm like, that's a girl movie. In my,
Mm.
7-year-old boy brain, I'm like, that's a girl's movie. I have no interest in it. But the music is so catchy and it's presented so well. The amount of boys that are obsessed with K-pop Demon Hunters, and it's a movie led by 3 female characters.
Yeah,
It's incredible. They love it because it's just cool. It's just their thing of the time.
we should also talk about a moment that would never happen in a modern movie, where you have Mikey with the unknowing kiss between Mikey.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Very 80s. Very 80s.
I mean, I love that moment because it's still is funny to me. But like, you would never see that
I just
nowadays.
the reason I would always fight for it, if someone brought me that script today, I'd be of two minds. Where The childcare provider in me goes, I don't know about that one. But the creative in me loves it. Because it creates this wonderful moment that is also honest and true to character.
Well, I think it also is another thing that fits in with the wish fulfillment. Like, as if you're looking at it through Mikey's eyes, like, yeah, he's a young kid who is just starting to be attracted to girls, probably.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, he would want to kiss the attractive older woman.
Yeah, oh, the other thing is, Andy is presented in a very stereotypical 80s female way. She is a stereotypical 16-year-old girl, 15-year-old girl, whatever, of the time of the 80s, where she's the cheerleader and she's prissy, and then she learns to kind of toughen up through this experience, but she's still presented in that very 80s way. And she's boy obsessed, and that's fine. But it's also true to the character, where she's like, I'm going here, I'm leading you to this place, I'm telling you without telling you, please come kiss me. And it's just by happenstance it happens. It's not presented as Mikey's going to be this like creep either, which I think is really important.
Yeah.
But I do love that moment. Because there's an honesty to it and there's a beauty to it where the more you talk to people as you grow up and share intimate details of like your first kiss or things like that, you learn all these random details about people where it's not the stereotypical, oh, well, my first middle school girlfriend and I were hanging out for the first time and we kissed. You find all these random examples where it's the weirdest, craziest, oddest experiences. Shit like this happens.
Yeah. Another thing that probably wouldn't be in a modern movie today is the truffle shuffle.
No.
Or really, pretty much any of the like fat jokes, I would call them, just to like wrap them up into one bundle.
The craziest part is I had a thought about that because the truffle shuffle by itself, that's problematic and wouldn't be shown.
I would still love it. I
would
still
too.
love it to this day.
I do, and I understand it. That wouldn't be shown, but I don't think there's actually that many fat jokes in this movie. The one obvious one I can think of is, I got an idea. What if we just poured chocolate all over the floor and let Chunk eat his way through? That one I'm like, yeah.
I think it's more everything that Chunk does is food motivated.
Yes.
Like, he's in the basement, and then he says, I smell ice cream, and that's how they find the dead body.
Well, what's kind of odd and funny to me is I prefer this to the modern iterations of things, and not even from I liked it that it was tougher or whatever kind of situation, or like, oh, it wasn't so politically correct. It has nothing to do with that. I actually find a lot of kids' movies that I end up having to watch due to work or circumstance or whatever, when they have characters that are trying to echo to things like this, they're more offensive in some ways because they're so simple, and the leap is so easy to just be like, it's so clear you're just trying to make this kid the fat kid. Or you're trying to make this kid this thing, but you can't say it and you can't do it, but you're finding a way to do it in such a way that you're going out of your way to trying to set this kid up. And you've only made them this faceted where I understand, yes, the beginning, Chunk is just the butt of the joke.
Yeah.
But he's more than that all the time.
Well, the thing is that I would say that makes it not problematic, to me at least, is he's the butt of the joke to Mouth.
Yes.
But to no one else is he... Like, Mikey doesn't treat him that way. Or Data doesn't treat him that way.
What I liked... One thing I wrote in this, and it's to your point, was these are very accurate portrayals of kids because of that example. One kid thinks the other kid is always the butt of the joke.
Yeah.
It's always, I'm going to pick. The other two see that kid's point and agree with them sometimes, but also understand he doesn't deserve this all the time. Stop. Mm-hmm. But yeah, when he's being a bullshit artist, and we know he's a bullshit artist, yeah, we're all going to make fun of him because he's a fucking liar. So when he tells us, oh, there's an ORV in a shootout and a police chase, Oh yeah, just like that time Michael Jackson stopped by your house to use the bathroom.
Yeah, yeah.
Or this or that, and they give all these examples that build a
Also,
Chunk's character. Like, yeah, of course
there,
you're gonna make fun of that kid.
I do love like there is perfect like joke structure
Yeah.
within that where it's like he's telling a bullshit story about Michael Jackson
Yep.
and they clearly know he's lying, but he still sticks to the story of but his sister did. Like I love it just as like it looks like a reversal of a joke, but then it's not at all. It's still
Yes.
he's still trying to bullshit his way out of
Yes,
it.
I love those details. But it's a very accurate portrayal of kids, or the amount of times where when he's right, but he's clearly. I love how often they pick at how he's taken away his own credibility. And then when you're starting to feel for him because he has no credibility, and you're like, but he's telling the truth, he's burnt all his credibility. So, like, the
Well,
sheriff doesn't believe him. But even the first time, he's like, there's bullet holes. Like, we need to get out of here. Everyone's like, shut up. We know you're a
yeah,
fucking liar. Just shut up and follow us. Don't be a bitch. Just come on.
yeah, it's the boy who cried wolf kind of thing.
And I
For
love how
sure.
often that works. But then, to show how multifaceted it is, he's the one that's actually most concerned about other people. In many ways. Outside of Mikey.
Yeah, I was gonna say Mikey definitely is,
But
but
then when you see how actually loving and accepting of Sloth he is very quickly, after he gets over the initial kid fear of, oh my
yeah,
god, this big hulking mutated creature thing. Oh, he's just a normal guy that wants to be loved. He's
oh,
so welcoming and inviting.
there's another moment that would not be in a modern movie. Him telling Sloth that he's gonna live with them
Yeah,
at the end of the movie.
yeah.
It'd be like that would never be in a movie nowadays.
I will say the ending is, as an adult through an analytical lens, the last 5 minutes is the roughest part of the movie for me.
Oh, I totally disagree.
I love it, but there's so much cheese and there's just so much.
Again, I have no problem with sentimentality. I love it so much.
Oh, it's more so. I always thought it was. The word I would use is cringe. There's some moments where I'm like,
See, the
ugh.
thing is, whenever I watch it nowadays, I like cry when Data's talking to his dad.
Oh, I cried this morning when I did it.
It's a great moment.
We've talked about my own father issues on the show plenty enough where it
Yeah.
always gets me, but that one I was just like, God damn it, because it's weirdly placed in all of these jokes. Like Chunk's family shows up with a Domino's pizza.
Yep, yep. Again,
What?
everything with Chunk is food related, which I have no problem with.
But then there's obvious ones like Steph's reunion with her parents is like, I lost my glasses. Could you help me out? But then Andy's is like, can I take piano lessons? And then she's not even like taking their concern serious at all. And be like, oh, you gotta watch him. And, like he's just like his father. Oh my god, ha ha
Yeah.
ha. But then right in the middle of all this like random, odd reunion, funny moments, there's this beautiful, heartfelt moment for him
Yeah.
and his
Well,
father.
it's also like pure Spielberg sentimentality when where I it like shows a lot of love and acceptance that they're like speaking Chinese.
Yes.
Like you don't see that a lot in movies of the 80s,
No, you don't.
except with very particular movies.
Yeah. And that's a
So,
great moment. And I also love the other part of the ending that I do love is when Bran and Andy kiss. And you get Mikey. The joke, obviously, is Mikey's like, I don't need this anymore. But I love the moment with their mother where it's just like, let her mother worry about it. Like, she's just so relieved her kids are safe and fine. And they've kind of proven her wrong that she doesn't need to be this micromanaging mom. That she's just like, let her mom worry about it. I don't care. And obviously, it helps to be a boy parent in that situation, not a girl parent. But yes, it is classic. Like, fuck it, let them go. They're kids. Who cares? Is there? What are some of your favorite standout lines of this movie?
okay, well, you know this, but I Smell Ice Cream has been a classic forever to me.
I still
Like,
remember your reaction. You remember when we were in the line for the
yes,
Eagle, I knew. The
Yeah.
second I opened my mouth, I saw your eyes. You're like, he's going to bring it up. We were at Six Flags Great America outside of Chicago, Illinois, and we were going on the American Eagle, which is their oldest coaster still in the park. And this was like year or two after we started watching Goonies, and we were watching it on repeat almost every week. And there was a guy in line in front of us that had a shirt with chunk on it that said "I smell ice cream." And we had literally just beforehand we saw ice cream, and we would just be like, "I smell ice cream." And then we saw this guy with his shirt, and Dylan lost his shit. He's like, "I want that shirt.
Well,
I want that shirt so bad."
that was also like an era where like graphic tees weren't what they are today, where like
No.
you can find anything nowadays.
Oh yeah, I mean, my favorite shirt that I own is a Burb shirt, and it's got the devil on it with the quote, "Satan is good, Satan is our pal." And I literally did the fry meme of "Shut up and take my money," and
You would not be able to find that in the early 2000s.
that's why I was like, "What?"
It was such a rarity to see I smell ice cream shirt.
Yeah, and Dylan lost his fucking mind over that shirt, rightfully so.
I just looked it up, and there are multiple variations I could get nowadays.
You should get one, and if you don't, I'll get one for you for the holidays.
That's a great moment. I do love. I mean, like I said, I have no problem with it. Like all the food related chunk stuff is hilarious. Like when the Fratellis get the pizza upstairs and they're hiding in the basement, but he's
like, "Pizza? Shh. Pepperoni? Shh." Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
My favorite ones here, I think Mama Fratelli has a great one with, "I'm not going to the zoo for another set," talking about the chains for sloths. You're like,
oh yeah, yeah.
the implication being, you go to a zoo to get chains to chain your animal of a son. Huh. Okay.
So, yeah, that's one of the weird things about it is like when you think of it logically, like Sloth is a sweetheart.
Huh?
Like why they got him locked up?
Because he's the other, it's classic.
Yeah.
But I also
just like of all the kids, he's the nicest of the kids.
Oh, absolutely. But another great one for me is when the statue breaks and naturally the penis goes off. So many great underlying jokes where it's my mom's favorite piece, and it's like, first of all, you're like, that implies a lot, and then the next second, mouth wouldn't be here if it wasn't. Just like, shut up, mouth. But then when they glue it back on, just be like, I just love that. You idiot, like, you dork. If you made it that way, God made it that way, we all be pissing in your faces. But I love the follow-up joke where as a kid you just go, a kid accepting, I think it's fine. But as an adult you can just go like, it looks erect.
Yeah.
So then it's like, looks fine to me. You're like, well, that kid's figured out something in life. And you're like, huh. It's a great underlying joke that at first you're not getting, but then you're like, wait, is that a masturbation joke almost in this fucking movie? Like,
I mean, they're the right age.
I don't know if that's the intention, but it's hilarious if it is,
Yeah.
And there's enough there to grab onto, no pun intended, and go with. I just think there's so many great one-liners in this.
Another moment that I like, but some people would say is overly sentimental, is the well speech.
Oh, yeah.
I have no problem with that. I like it a lot.
The other thing about the well is I love it shows there are two great moments where if you look, like the villain of this movie, the underlying villain is the jock and his dad. It's Troy and his dad just being shitty rich people.
I think they are the villains.
Well, the Fratellis are the villains, but like...
Yes, but I'm saying like in terms of like what's actually going to threaten the livelihood of these people.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess it's implied that the Fratellis are going to kill them, but...
Oh, the amount of times they pull a gun on these kids would say so, yes. Or the fact that they're willing to puree a kid's hand. Like, it's just so. Also, another great moment where he's confessing all of his sins, and Robert Davi's just like, beginning to like this kid, Mom. Like, after he confesses that he made an entire movie theater throw up on themselves. Hilarious. But that moment with Troy, I love when they're fucking with all the pipes. It's a great subliminal message. Also, smack dab in the middle of the Reagan era, where Troy's got the guns and ammo magazine while he's on the toilet, and immediately, that's just a great subliminal tell, like, this kid's a douchebag. Like, this kid's a fucking loser. And then the next one where they do the wishing well, and they have everything, the joke goes back and forth, like, who's down there or whatever. But when they're theoretically pulling Andy up in the bucket, and they're too stupid to realize it's far too light to do.
Yeah.
But did you notice how Troy's not even pulling? The two little minions are. He's such a creep. He can't even help the girl that he's trying to, like, where he's trying to like go all the way with Andy, and he's not even willing to help her enough to pull her up in a bucket. His two friends have to do it as they all laugh about being cretins. It's like, what a fucking loser. Like, what a douchebag. Great character moment there that I absolutely love. Absolutely love those moments.
That's another thing of, like, the 80s that is very rich, is, like, it's always the jocks that are the assholes.
Oh, yeah. And it's hilarious because now that's kind of flipped to a degree. There's still plenty of that in early childhood, but by the time the age of the age of these kids are, it's not really the case a lot of time anymore. It's
that's true.
There's just pricks in all groups and everything.
Yeah.
Another one I wanted to bring up, just to show how accurate this is with kids, is the moment that the Fratellis leave, they go back in the restaurant, and it sets up the whole, we're going to find the tunnel and everything. I love how Bran's like, we're leaving now, being very smart. And he's like, come on, Bran, let him have it. And at first, they were just, like, annoyed that the girls were there. The second Andy backs them up, immediately like, yeah, listen to her. She knows what she's talking about. Yep. It's just so... We're going to shift our loyalty immediately because we get what we want out of it. Yeah. And I adore that moment. Because I watch it every single day. Where if I have to be the hard ass at work and someone else is being the nice person, all of a sudden, even though it's some of my kids that absolutely adore me are like, no, I'm going with so-and-so now because you were the mean one and they're the nice one. Which is hilarious. Because I'm like... Because then a lot of the times I'm the nice one that's like, don't worry about it. It's not that big a deal. And everyone's like, oh, Mr. Evans awesome. Because he's going to let us do stuff that not everyone else is going to let us do. You know? It's just so accurate to kids. I love those moments. Yep. And one movement, a lot of nice touches. Sloth with the Superman shirt. Great little nod to Richard Donner's Superman. I love...
Yeah, that's one that I don't think I picked up on that until my most recent viewing a couple months ago. Where it's like, oh, yeah, Richard Donner. I forgot.
Well, you got to know something about it to get it. Because at first it's just it's a Superman moment. And it's a guy obsessed with TV that loves Superman. Okay. But to get it with Richard Donner doing it, like, oh, okay.
I'm trying to think of, he's watching an Errol Flynn movie.
Yep.
Sloth is.
Yeah.
Can't remember if it's Captain Blood.
I think it's Captain Blood. I have not watched that film, but I think it's Captain Blood.
I've seen Captain Blood, but I think there's another one, like the Seahawk, I think it is.
Okay.
Which it might be. Because Captain Blood isn't actually a pirate, but I don't know.
Interesting.
I like that nod that he's watching the pirate movie and then at the end, call back.
Well, I also love just the last one I was just felt needed to be talked about was the great story of, it actually has been dispelled. But I love the reason it was dispelled was, and I saw this in a documentary about the film long, long time ago, was when they revealed the pirate ship to the kids.
Oh, yes.
That is a genuine reaction. Mm-hmm. The hilarious part is, that was planned. That's what they did. They couldn't use it and they had to reshoot it because almost all the kids started swearing because they're so excited. They're like, oh my fucking God, this is fucking awesome. And that, like... They're like, well, that doesn't fit. We can't use that.
Well, that's one of the curious things of, like, I always wonder how they did that, because they're swimming in the water when it's revealed.
Right.
So it's like, how did they logistically get them to not look... but
also, talk about a great set. Water slides into pirate ship.
Oh, another wish fulfillment thing, the water slide.
Yeah, that water slide's so cool. I mean, how many times did we go off the drop slides and shit? We're like, oh shit, we're Geronimo.
I remember this one time, me and Ryan, our neighbor,
Yep.
we went with his dad who worked at for the county
Yeah.
um, to like this weird warehouse where they kept all the like winter snow salt
Yeah,
stuff
the
that they
road
put
side.
on
Yeah,
the
I
road.
went with you guys one time too. Yeah.
Okay, but one time his dad just let us go up to the top of it and slide down
Uh-huh.
like it was a sledding hill.
Yep.
And we were just sliding down, and I was screaming, "Oh shit!" I remember being scared at the end that he was going to tell mom and dad about it, that I was swearing, but he didn't. He was cool.
Good old Mark Dorschner. He was good. He's a good dude. But yeah, it's funny to see those moments and see how they play out. It's crazy that we've just been going down memory lane with all of this, but it's just such an accurate. This
Um,
to me, I would say E.T.'s one of them. This, I have to keep going through the Rolodex, are the most accurate portrayals of children I've ever seen because they're real. And it's people who know kids who really get it.
yeah,
Which is why I think the Harry Potter movies that's never talked about work so well is those feel like real kids going through this journey. When you first see Sorcerer's Stone, you'll go, yeah, I believe these kids just entered a world of magic. That
yeah.
makes sense.
What is your favorite of the traps?
Ooh.
I've always had a sweet spot for the piano one. I don't know why.
I like the piano. I like the dropping boulders. I think that's great. Because I really like all of them, but I think I love the absurdity of the piano into the water slide.
Hmm.
Where they just, it's almost really like, we're stuck here. We're going to have some fun. Fuck it. Like, I
Yeah,
kind of love that. But I also love the key turner where the floor drops out on Data. I love that one.
yeah, yeah.
Because it's so video game, so classic Indiana Jones. Like, this movie, I want to say, is paced exactly like Raiders. It is literally, we do
Sure.
something to get to another cliffhanger, to get to another cliffhanger, to get to another cliffhanger, and how do we get out of it? It's literally, what if a bunch of kids got to play Indiana Jones in a minor Indiana Jones set? It is literally what it is, which is another reason why this movie works so well for me. But incredible. I love all of these moments
Oh,
so much.
also, just quick shout out. Dave Grusin does the score to this,
Okay.
and he is like the ultimate composer of cozy movies in the 80s. Because he does
Okay.
like he does Tootsie, he does this, he does like a lot of like the what I would call like jazz lounge score
Okay.
where it's like it's just easy listening stuff.
Yeah.
He also does it's either the Columbia logo or the TriStar logo. He does the score to that, kind
Okay.
of like John Williams does 20th Century.
Okay.
Um, but yeah, I he's like if you want just cozy score, listen to the best of his stuff.
Okay. Well, it's good. It's a good thing to listen to. So, God, this movie's so good. I know we've gushed about it for an hour and a half at this point, but fun times. Fun times to go back to. What a great Halloween movie. Spooky season's perfect for this, but it's perfect anytime. Anytime you need to pick me up, Goonies is a great way to get it.
Yeah, real quick, I'm just gonna look up the Rotten Tomatoes score for it because I'm curious.
I would hazard a guess if you want me to.
What do you think the critics is, and what do you think the audience is?
Critics, I'm gonna go 72. Audience, I think I'm gonna go into 94.
You're a little bit off on each. 77 critics,
I was gonna go 78. I was like, something tells me these bum ass critics back in the day wouldn't like it as
um,
much.
and 91% for audience.
I knew that was. I knew that. I was like, if Goonies is not a 90% or higher, this is bullshit. Like
And
total
that means
bullshit.
9% of the people who watch it think it's under a 3.5 or a 3 out of 5.
Well, those 9% of people are factually wrong.
Yeah, I mean,
It's one of my favorite things to say. You're entitled to your wrong opinion.
I always like the movies that are 99% because there's like that one critic who gives it less than 3.
Yeah.
3 out of 5. It's
I've
like,
been
you're
that
an
person.
asshole.
I've been that person before. I understand those people.
Well, I think the one I'm thinking of is like there's like 2 people for the Wizard of Oz that rate it less than a 3 out of 5. It's like you're just dumb. Like honestly.
How do you do that? How do you do that for the Wizard of Oz? But that's crazy. Well, this has been a fun Halloween episode. Great way to wrap up spooky season. Next year we'll have some more spooky season for you as well. We'll have to change up the tone a little bit probably since we did such family-friendly fare this year. I wouldn't be shocked if we do some more family-friendly films, but we got to do some more your cup of tea, some slashers and some other stuff as well. Some more anniversary stuff. But tell us what you'd like for spooky season. We'd love to hear that as well. But join us in November as we're getting into awards season stuff as well with December. We're going to get some 2025 recaps. I've watched actually quite a few 2025 movies, so it's going to be fun.
I'm starting to get there.
Starting to get there?
Yeah, I watched F1. I watched... never mind. That was 2024. I watched the Apprentice, the young Donald Trump one.
Yeah.
Honestly, pretty good.
Okay.
And it really humanizes and explains why Donald Trump is such a piece of shit.
Yeah, well, regardless of why, he still fucking sucks, so whatever.
Yes.
But also, another recommendation if anyone's going to watch this on Halloween, Weapons. Already on HBO.
I just bought it. I've not watched it yet.
But here's the thing. I know turnaround time on a movie is quick. That came out in the middle of August. And it is 2 months and change. Usually it's at least a 3-month turnaround unless the movie's terrible. Or just didn't have a run and they're like, well, we got to capitalize while it's still new and put it on a streaming service. But holy shit, this was quick. I was flabbergasted. I was like, what? Weapons? Alright, well, I'm going to watch that this weekend. That's going to be fun. Or I'll watch it in the next couple days. And that'll be cool. Yeah. But nonetheless, another recommendation because apparently it's great. I'm excited to finally get to watch it because August was not computing for my schedule for movies. But good, fun episode. Glad you had some fun. Glad we got some memories out like I Smell Ice Cream. If anyone wants to get Dylan a Christmas present, now you know what to get Dylan.
Yeah.
But thank you guys so much for watching and listening wherever you are. Happy Halloween to all of you. Check in for the next episodes coming in the next couple weeks. Peace, love, and hugs to you all.
Bye.
Goodbye. Hey, Lupin.